I bought this Land Rover Series 3 as a project to fix up and sell to make a little bit of money doing what I love, mainly injuring myself and spending money. But I need to find a buyer soon because I'm running out of money trying to keep two needy vehicles alive. But before I can sell it, I've found an issue that I need help with because I can't do it on my own. But before we move on, let's have a recap of what's been done over the past few months. I cleaned up the interior by removing all the old horrible carpets and the glue. I replaced the rubber gaiters and installed new seat belts. I repainted the seat bases. I added new window rubbers and sliding window channels. And speaking of channels, you should subscribe to this one. I sourced and installed a matching tailgate. I reconditioned the wheels and added wheel spacers. I gave the lights new lenses and even put this weird canvas thing on. But when I had one of the wheels off, I noticed something not very good. That's not good. This is the original 51-year-old chassis, and it's in pretty great shape, apart from a small hole that needs to be cut out and repatched. And instead of fumbling my way through this like some kind of unstoppable idiot, I'm going to head over to my nearest Land Rover specialist and they're going to do it for me. Gumtree 4x4 is only a 10 to 15 minute drive away from me. They're based in Ditchling, West Sussex, and have been doing everything Land Rover for the past few decades. I spoke to Ben, the owner, on the phone before driving over, and he was really happy for me to do some filming. I often find that businesses are suspicious when they're asked to be filmed, but, you know, rightly so. Ben and Gary were well up for it though. We got Yui up on the ramp as soon as I arrived, and in order for them to get to the troubled spot, the last section of exhaust would have to be removed. And these guys don't mess around. That exhaust was off in seconds. And just to show how into Land Rovers they are, Ben, the one working in the Air Force Ones, has even got his personal Land Rover tattooed on his arm. Now that Gary could get to the rotty bit, he had to check how far the rust had spread. Even though it's a tiny hole, it tends to corrode from the inside out, so by stabbing it with a screwdriver, he could see how much of it he'd have to cut out. Fortunately, it's a simple flat section, no bends or shape to it at all, so it's a rectangle of steel, well, rusty steel, that needed removing. Then it's a case of cleaning up around the repair and grinding it back to bare metal so you can get a clean weld. But while all that was going on, I had a little nose around the workshop. There were a bunch of interesting customer cars about, like this 1984 Dacia Duster, which I think is awesome and makes me want to drive to Mongolia. There was also a Range Rover Classic, a vehicle I've always wanted to build into an overland tourer, plus this 110 fire department pickup, and a whole bunch of different age Defenders. But now it was time to start putting Yui back together. Gary had cut a new matching plate to go in and had fired up the MIG welder. He then tacked it in place before filling in the weld on each side. And when it was all solid again, he had to grind down the weld to neaten it up before treating the bare metal with a rubber sealant, and then covering it with Dinitrol, a very sticky, very good underbody seal to treat and prevent rust. But the previous user didn't clean the application gun before putting it away, and when Gary tried to use it, he had a bit of an accident.
Ben's box!
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh god.
And then after a lengthy cleanup of Ben's workstation, Gary got the Dinitrol gun working and applied a generous coating to keep any moisture out and stop any further corrosion. Then it was back on with the old exhaust and getting Yui down off the ramp and heading home. Now that Yui has been out of surgery and in recovery for a few days, I thought I would have a go at trying to preserve the rest of that original chassis. I'm going to climb underneath some assortment of wire brushes and get rid of some of his corns and calluses, and then seal the underneath with Lanoguard. Lanoguard, which is the same product I used on the Defender standing next to me here as well. Brilliant underbody protection. It's fully DIY, and if you would like to order a kit, there is a discount code linked below, which is also an affiliate link, so I get a little commission, but there's no extra cost to you. So get yourself a kit of Lanoguard and sort out the underneath of your Series or Defender, and hopefully this will make it last for many years to come. So without further ado, I've got to suit up and mask up, get ready to crawl underneath our good little blue friend over here. Shut up. Well, the last time I did this, I destroyed a full set of clothes and smelled like sheep's wool for a week. So this time, I was taking no chances. It's actually kind of snug for a double XL. And if you're not careful, you might get a front and back wedgie when you lift your arms above your head. This is a pretty mucky job, especially under UE, as there's a fair bit of crud to scrape off before I could even apply the Lanoguard. And doing it on your back like this, without a ramp, is doubly tricky, as you can't really get your face out of the way so you don't get bits in your eyes, hence the mask and the eye protection. I didn't have anything like this when I did the Defender. That was mainly sand and mud. But under this old fella, there's a fair amount of flakiness. Now that I've got it reasonably good, I think I can get some of the Lanoguard on. It's so crusty down here. Lanoguard has two main products that come in the kit. This is the motor grease, which you apply with a paintbrush onto the high corrosion zones, places where water can get trapped and cause all kinds of nastiness. For example, little nooks and crannies, seams and welds, joints and ends of bolts, basically anywhere that gook can get stuck in. Then you have the Moto Spray, a much more liquid compound of the same product which sprays on in a fine mist, coating everything and going everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Straight down the throat. Yummy. It's actually really satisfying watching the chassis getting covered completely and going all shiny, knowing it's going to be protected from wet and salty roads. But it doesn't stay shiny though. It gradually goes a satiny black over the next week or so. And I even gave the rear crossmember a coat instead of painting it. Just 24 hours later and it's already starting to cure and stop being as shiny. So I thought, let's have a change of scenery and take Yui out for a spin and have a chat somewhere other than my driveway. Now that we're in this beautiful Sussex field, let's talk about the remaining issues that I have to deal with before I'm comfortable selling it on to someone new. When I had this up on the ramp at Gumtree, I took the opportunity to ask the mechanics what the condition was like underneath. I was worried about the oil leaks. They weren't concerned at all. It's quite common for these vehicles to leak from all the kind of known places, the engine sump, the gearbox transfer box and the two diffs, and every single one of those were leaking. But the mechanics reassured me that it is a DIY job and I just need to buy the seals offline, so I think I'm definitely going to do that just for peace of mind for the next owner. Although they said you could do all of that, spend all of that time, and it could be leaking again in the next 2 weeks, so they suggested just leave it as it is. But I think I fancy having a go at changing the oil seals, particularly the engine sump and the transfer and gearbox seals. The diffs I'm a little bit nervous about, but they reassured me that you can do it. It's just a DIY job, so I think I'm going to have a go. The next worrisome thing is this dodgy bulkhead repair, which I've mentioned in the past. I think it looks ugly, but I've asked a few friends and I had mixed feedback. Some saying leave it, it fits with the car. Some saying it's not that bad, while others saying absolutely repair it, it looks horrible. So I did some due diligence and I took it to a very reputable body shop here in Sussex, and the owner actually came out because he was interested in this vehicle. He told me in no uncertain terms, unless you have extremely deep pockets and willing to replace the entire bulkhead, which will be absolute open heart surgery for this vehicle, it's not worth patching. Patching at best will cost £1,000 and will need to be redone in the future. So now I don't really want to spend thousands and thousands and thousands replacing the bulkhead, because I don't think I'll be able to recoup that back. Nor do I want to spend £1,000 and just do a patch job, which will then lead to more and more questions from a new owner wondering, why is there a shiny bulkhead on a patinaed old vehicle? What are you hiding? I want to avoid that. So my solution, which I might add the body shop guy probably wasn't that enthusiastic about, is to do it myself. To gently grind away the surface, put in a little bit of filler if it needs it, and then to repaint it, but not with an aerosol. I'm going to go old school, like some of these vehicles have been painted in the past, and use a brush. That way I can touch up the hinges, I can touch up all little bits around, I can cover up a few horrible rusty bits around the car, and it's still within keeping of the patina of this vehicle. Unfortunately, it does come with the caveat that the new owner will have to splurge out on a new bulkhead in the future. But the body shop owner said it's very, very rust free, so they shouldn't have to do anything for years. So let's sum up where I'm at with this project. I'd like to do the oil seals underneath, relatively inexpensive, I get a bit of experience and you can't really mess it up too badly. Plus there'll be new diff oil, new gearbox oil and new engine oil. Secondly, how much worse could the bulkhead get? I mean, I couldn't mess it up so badly that it's just destroyed if I go gentle and work slowly and carefully. Plus it's only going to cost maybe £80 to sort it all out on my own and just cover up the horrible yucky repair that's there. Fortunately there's no rust, which is amazing, and I'll let you into a little secret. The guys over at Gumtree gave me a speculative valuation. You tell me how far off you think it is. They speculated it to have a value of about £15,000, which obviously I'm over the moon with. Let's hope we can aim somewhere around that ballpark. I'm a little bit nervous of that valuation or speculation. I don't want to hold them to it because the market is a little bit up and down. So for the right buyer, this is a great original vehicle with original chassis, original engine, original everything that's been patched and looked after really, really, really well. It's now in great running condition with just a few more things left to go, and then it can go up for sale. I'm very excited at the progress. I'm very excited with how close we are to the finish line. And if you would like to keep watching and you enjoy this, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.